So as a kid, I fished this river a lot, and I used to get skunked here a lot. And then one day, walking upstream, and I see this piece of water, and I was fishing with my dad that day. We threw a cast out here, and I think we'd fished 3 days at that point without a grab. In my memory, we hooked 5 fish here that day, and that probably was like more fish than I'd seen that whole winter. And so we started coming back here for obvious reasons. It wasn't always that good, but it was really a consistent spot. And so for about the next 10 years, this was the place that I came fishing. This was all old trees, you know, towering up into the sky. There was just a band of sky here. There'd be big trees in the water some years. And this was a really lonely place. One day I drove in expecting it to be like it was when I had been here 2 weeks before, and there was a cable running from the top of one mountain down across the river to a big bulldozer parked right where I usually park to come in. The chainsaws were running, and the trees were falling, and I couldn't fish here because the cable coming over the water, and the guys were up here on this slope cutting the trees. I turned around and left, came back a couple days later, and they were all done cutting, and I didn't even recognize the place. And I kept fishing here after that, for quite a bit. But every time I came, my blood pressure went up. Even if I caught a fish, I didn't get that feeling that I used to get, of kind of being away from everything. And so I pretty much stopped coming back. This is like a family spot too. I mean, this is my dad and I. We didn't fish together a lot when I was a kid because he worked a lot. But once I got to be 16 to 20 something, he and I came in here just about every weekend together when the fish are around. He won't come back here now. Cuts like these that are up the tribs near the spawning water, they've got roads cut all through them, and those roads are all cut back into the mountainside, so when the water lands on the road, it runs back into the ditch, then runs down the culvert, out the culvert, right into the river or into the spawning trib. And that silt goes over the spawning redds, over the gravel, and buries gravel that would be exposed and suffocates any fish or eggs that are in that gravel. We also have temperature issues. Our summer temps in the lower river get to lethal levels at times. As you can see, there used to be a lot more shade on the river. Now, when the sun's out, it's the sun is on the water, a lot more of the time. The company that owns this land has no intention of logging for a long time here. Their only intention is to get as much wood out of here as they can in the immediate future. The day they cut it was pretty sad, but it wasn't too long later that I came in and they were putting the herbicide down. The way they do that is they fly a helicopter with these big booms out the side, and they blanket the clear cuts with herbicide. Today, if you were to take a measurement in any of the water around here of herbicide, you'd find very little. But on those days after they spray, all the tribs and the river itself is flowing with toxic levels of herbicide. I think seeing that helicopter, hearing that helicopter, that was probably the day I realized I didn't want to be coming back. I grew up in logging country, so when I talk about logging, I don't mean to say bad things about loggers. Loggers are people working hard for a living. But this place isn't owned by the loggers. It's owned by a big company in the Midwest who pays those loggers just what they have to get them to work, and then cuts every tree everywhere and ships it somewhere else. Logging in this part of the world is really about everybody losing except for the few people who own stock in that company. You know, in all honesty, now we're, about 7 years from the cut, and the trees are about 6 to 8 feet tall over there. And now I'm thinking about my kids. It's another 15 years from now, which is just a blink of an eye, and this might feel something like it used to. The trees won't be ancient like they were when I was here, but it might be a special place again. So I guess I feel cautiously optimistic. I just hope that there's still fish around then, because logging isn't the only problem the fish have around here. The solution that we've had for going on 100 years here is a hatchery. Oh, there he is. Yep. Yeah, nice. Nice. It's a hen. Oh yeah, beautiful. What a beautiful fish. About 5 pounds. Native. She has a sea lion mark. What a special fish. God, every one of them is unique. That brings me back, man. Yeah, still around. I mean, that's just a testament to how resourceful the species is, I mean, we've been logging, gill netting, fishing for 100 years on this river. And for the first years of records, there were gill nets across the whole river at sometimes. And yet there's still fish here. That's why I feel optimistic, if we play our cards right in the next 10 or 15 years, I think we'll be far enough out of the resource extraction only mode in the Northwest, and we'll have a real chance to recover fish. Oh, that's so good, man. It never gets old.